So, for everybody to keep asking me about where's my 6 kids' daddy at, let me let y'all know. So, my first baby daddy, which was my first love, and he's the father of my oldest, he has transitioned from Tony to Tracy. And he is now living in Atlanta, Georgia, dressed fully as a female. And he does not want to have anything to do with his child. My second baby daddy was kicked in the chest by a horse. It gave him an instant heart attack and he died. My third baby daddy, just a deadbeat. I didn't know that he was married, and when I told him I was pregnant, he confessed to her what the situation was and all that. She went with it, and now we just waiting on the DNA test to come back so that they can pay child support. Well, she's going to pay child support because, as I stated, he a deadbeat, he ain't got no job, and by them being legally married, she works to bring in the income, she will be the one that be paying me child support. Fourth baby daddy decided he wanted to fucking be a pirate and go rob the boat freights and shit like that. So he is now serving 20 years. When he gets out, my child will be 25. And my last 2 kids have the same father, and he is 72 years old, living in a nursing home with dementia.
Hey, my Emo brothers, back again. This one probably won't be as serious as the last one. It's a little bit more funny as an observation, but it's something that I said I was going to do last week because what I have observed over the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, especially we have a lot of families getting together, a lot of people getting together. In the Black community, it is what it is. Let's put it that way. What I've noticed over the past couple of years, especially getting together, is there's a lots and lots of what I call single mothers and their children, and of various ages. Like you'll have a young single mothers that are very young, have very young children, almost like babies. And then you have older single mothers that are in their 40s, sometimes their 50s, and they'll have like teenage kids or even kids that are in college age in their 20s. And I noticed there's a proliferation of that kind of occurrence, this kind of family setup. And something my mentor was telling me in a show yesterday is that 60 to 70% of the families with children in the house are led by women, by single women, which makes sense. I think it's 35% of the Black men in the United States are married. That would make sense. That would add up by 65% of the children would be in single mother households. And I got to thinking that where in nature do you see this a lot? You do see it. I mean, with animals in Africa, you see it in, I think it's rhinos and a few others that do this, that are singular animals and they roam around with their children. But I got to thinking, especially with the thing about the bears, where women would prefer a bear than a man. And the image popped up in my head of a mama bear and her cubs. Because you either see a solo male bear walking around the woods by himself, foraging and whatever he's doing and hunting, but you never see the male with the cubs. You never ever see a male bear and his cubs. It's always a mama bear and her cubs. If you see a cub, you know there's going to be a mama bear somewhere around. And normally in springtime, after the ice is thawed, you see mama bear walking around with 2 or 3 cubs in tow. And I'm noticing the same thing in the black community. You see a black woman and 1, 2, 3. Every now and then there's more, but 1, 2, or 3 children in tow of various ages. And had a friend visit from, I think it was Indiana, and her daughter, who's college age. Now, the woman's not married. She's single. She's a single mother, and she has, I think, 1 child, and that's a girl, and that's a family. The little girl's been with her forever. I think the girl's like 18 now. She's getting ready to go to college, but they have been a pair forever. And I got to thinking that these are like a mama bear and her cub. So I got to thinking, are single black mothers like bears? Because you never see the man, you never see the father. They never even talk about the father or who the father is. Talk about dad. So just like the female bear, they get together in summer or maybe even fall for the wintertime. He basically knocks mama bear up. Mama bear hibernates through the winter, and the cubs suckle on her while she's in her den, and then springtime pops out, and all of a sudden you see mama bear and her cubs walking around and doing what they do. And that cub will be with her up until about a year, until the next spring when he actually goes off on his own, or his or her own, and repeats the cycle. So I got to thinking that, as much as women say they like bears and prefer bears over men, I'm starting to believe it. I'm starting to even get it, because white women are starting to become the same thing. If you think about it, their families are starting to look the same way. So I'm not surprised where a woman would prefer a bear over a man. And the only time that the women get together with the man is to produce an offspring that can keep her company. And the only time the bear goes back to find another mate, is when the yearlings or the offspring get old enough to go out on their own. And then she goes out and finds a man, she gets knocked up, and the cycle repeats. And there's a lot of women, a lot of black women that do that. They get with a man just long enough, a year and a half, till the baby gets big enough to where the baby can kind of fend for itself, and then she gets rid of the man and makes up some kind of cockamamie story why she got rid of him. And then she goes off on her own, and then she goes out looking, after a certain amount of time, looking for another man to do the same thing. I think there's a couple women that are on TikTok, and there's one woman that she was rather bold, right? I mean, I'm not accounting for looks, and she said she wanted a 5th baby daddy or 6th baby daddy, something like that. And she said she won't even put him on child support. She just wanted a 6th baby. She just wanted a man to bless her with his seed, knock her up, and so she can become a mama bear to a 6th cub. Well, I just Googled it, and man, there's a bunch of females, black females especially, mostly, that are looking for their 4th, 5th, or 6th child, and they're actually actively advertising for free sperm from a man to actually knock her up so that she can have another child. Now, sometimes that's to remain on the system, because you see that a lot, where the kids start to age out of the system, and she needs a man to knock her up so he can either pay child support or she can go back and womb hustle estate. There's a lot of that. And there's a lot of women that stay with the guy for 2-3 years, either leave the guy if she's ever married to him, or she gets divorced from him, and they're good, because according to black women, and it's been in black women forever, a family is a woman and her child. A man is not part of the family unit. He's an appendage to the family unit. If he cannot prove his worth, or he cannot bring something special to the table, her and the children are good, especially in this environment where Uncle Sam is the ultimate baby daddy. So, what do you guys think? Are black women bears? A single black woman, mama bears? I mean, do you guys rock with that? Do you see it? Because every time I look up, I can't unsee it now. Once I thought about it, I can't unsee it now. I see a single mother with her child and no man in tow. No man even mentioned. No man even talked about. They'll talk about everybody else in their family. They'll talk about her parents. They'll talk about her grandparents. They'll talk about whatever. They'll talk about aunts, sometimes even uncles, but they won't talk about the man that's the father of their child. They will not. And they turn up their nose if you even ask who's the father and has they seen the father. And sometimes, hell, the child can't even remember the father's name. Sometimes the child hasn't seen her father, his or her father, in so long, they don't call him daddy. They call him whatever his first name is. So sometimes not even his first name. Sometimes it's a nickname, just like Papa, some random dude. And you bet not question why she's not with the father, because that's a fight. So Kevin used to talk about this all the time. Why are you not with the man that you laid down with? Why are you not with the man you decided to bless with a child? Why was he good enough to lay down with? Why was he good enough for you to struggle 40 weeks with, in discomfort and pain and nausea, to birth a child and continue his line? There's never a good answer. And we've seen really since Kevin, we've seen 4, 5, 6 years of dating shows, probably even before that, was them asking the same question. And basically, you look at Kendra G, who's been doing this, as she says, for 5 years. She's been doing this, and Kendra G just rolls her eyes when she hears the same answer over and over and over again. So it's almost like she has it written down. When was the last time you've been intimate? When was the last time you were in a serious relationship? When was the last time you were intimate? How many kids you have? You have children? How many? By how many baby daddies? She always asks how many baby daddies. It's not assumed that all the kids came from the same father. And I think it's like 70% of black women that have multiple children have them by multiple men. At least 2. If she's got more than one child, 70% come from more than one father, which is another reason why I think there's a very strong similarity between black women and bears. So, does this fit with your experience, as Ryan Terabant would say? What do you think? Does you see this in your own family? Do you see this in your own surroundings? If you happen to be surrounded by black people, especially working class black women, and it seems to span classes. That's the funny thing. Just because she's upper class and she's got money doesn't mean that she's not a bear. I've seen some very well-to-do bears. And I've seen some millionaire bears. Let's put it that way. Just because they're upper class and educated and are sophisticated and have money doesn't mean that they are not mama bears. I'm just saying. Anyhow, let me jump off of here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.